You can subdue but never tame me. It gives me a migraine headache sinking down to your level. Yeah, I just keep thinking it's my fault and stay an inch or two out of kicking distance. Mankind has got to know his limitations. This is the Community Solutions Podcast. Jason Bradley, Andrew Richter, causing trouble yet again. A headache for those in power.
Headache for those in power. Now, Jay, of course, as always, you've stopped. That sounded like a limerick or something, not a song.
Yeah, that was a song.
That was a song?
Yes, it was.
But it didn't rhyme.
No, I guess it didn't, really.
I guess it's just your average Bob Dylan song. But, I mean,
well, that's not true. Otherwise, it would be like gray pony clouds flying through Main Street under a dog noose wet.
Well, if you're in
nap.
Minneapolis, anything's possible.
Yes.
So enlighten us on who that was here.
That was Sweating Bullets by Megadeth.
Megadeth.
Yes.
Megadeth. That one word or two?
One.
Oh, what's one word? Megadeth?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. The music I missed out on. I'll tell you what, life flies by, Jay.
Yeah.
And there's just some music that it's kind of like, tattoos and body piercing. I just don't get it.
That would have come out, 90, 91, 92, I think.
Really?
Was it even
90s?
before that?
Huh.
I don't know. Something like that. It was after the Rust in Peace album. That one came out.
Oh, well,
Countdown to Extinction.
I remember when that came out.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea. 91. Who was popular in 91? Besides the Twins.
Well, that was just kind of when things were starting to break for a small band called Nirvana. And
that's right. That's
Pearl
when
Jam
we went from pop music of the 80s. There was like a transition into the more grungy alternative stuff that by the mid-90s was kind of the popular.
Right.
I didn't change with the times, but, I was still playing my Madonna tapes in the mid-90s. But
oh, boy.
Yeah. So, nothing changed for me.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Jay,
yes.
Let me totally go off the deep end here right away.
Okay.
Two things real quick before we jump in, because what we have to talk about again is so awful, so horrible, just so down and depressing. I guess exposing the truth and educating people is what we do, even if it pains us to have to do it.
Right.
Now, Jay, let me ask you a question.
All right, fire away.
Recently, I just want to say, I'm a conspiracy buff.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean I believe in them, but I'm intrigued by documentaries and kind of wacky sort of things. Last night, I watched two documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
One was on the killing of Martin Luther King.
Ooh.
The other one was on Bobby Kennedy, which were only a couple of months apart.
Right.
We're coming up on 51 years since Robert Kennedy was. In fact, I think we just passed the anniversary. And whether or not, once again, we had a lone gunman, and I'm a sucker for those conspiracies.
Right.
So you have Sirhan on
right.
one. He's still around.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know he was still around.
Oh yeah, he's still around.
51 years in prison, Jay.
Yeah,
and
it's not long enough.
Yeah, I agree. And James Earl Ray.
Yes.
On the Martin Luther King. Now I'm just curious. I know we don't rehearse this show here. We're like Sinatra. We do one take.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about those two killings? Do you think that it was a wider thing? Do you think that they were lone gunmen? I'm just curious. I know it's a tragic. Other killings were going on at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Malcolm X was gunned down. George Wallace,
right.
who survived, but was in a wheelchair after that, was shot right around that time or right after. So kind of a violent political time.
Absolutely,
in that
it was.
Era. So, President Ford was shot at, of course, President Reagan. So, I mean, what's your feeling on those two?
I think that specifically with those two, I mean, like you say, it was a violent period. There were a lot of radicals that it kind of shoved radicalism back underground for a period of time.
Yeah.
I believe that, did they act alone? I believe so, but I don't believe that they were alone in the I think they were part of bigger networks that planted the seed, that maybe supported them, that said, "Yeah, you go do it," or at least
the atmosphere was set up to where I mean, if James Earl Ray, interesting character, a petty criminal.
Yes.
Once when he was arrested, you know how he got arrested? He robbed somebody, he dropped his billfold. Okay, not the smartest guy to pull off a thing like that.
No.
And, I mean, Sirhan, the guy shot Kennedy in the middle of a kitchen.
Right.
And I'm saying this, Robert Kennedy would have won. He would have been president.
Mm-hmm.
And poor old Richard Nixon would have had another Kennedy in his nightmares for the rest of his life. And I say that as a man who, I respect Mr. Kennedy. I don't like him, but and Ted, he couldn't. His last name, his name was Ted Johnson. He wouldn't have been qualified to be a milkman. But the point is that I mean, you live in a weird and I have always been intrigued by conspiracy, but I'm always critical of the conspirators.
Yes,
because they always look for evidence of a conspiracy and dismiss anything. Oh, that's just the government covering it up. That's just blah blah blah. It's kind of like, come on here. I mean. At some point, the easiest thing is for one nut job to do something, and I think I just think as a nation, Jay, we have a hard time accepting that.
Yeah, I think so too. We always look for something, and it doesn't matter whether it is the Kennedys and Martin Luther King or if it's Elvis, or Jim Morrison. I mean, look at the people that still believe that they're alive.
Well, I mean, there are some pretty credible Elvis sightings.
That's true. They're all around Las Vegas, but
yeah, or Atlantic City.
Right. But I mean, there have been those that have said that Jim Morrison is still alive, and they've seen him, and he's released music under a pseudonym, and
well, Shoeless Joe Jackson did play baseball in the D leagues in the 1920s. I mean, I guess after being suspended, I guess anything's possible.
I suppose.
But, anyway, I just share these things if you see them on YouTube. The ones I watched did a good job of kind of covering both sides of it. Mm-hmm. I do side with the lone person in those, whether they were nudged or pushed or one was the Manchurian candidate or what. I mean, there's just there's no point A to point B that shows that. And so if you were constructing a case, you could never convict a conspiracy based on what's been dug up after 50 or 60 years. Witnesses are dead. Police officers who worked the case are dead. There's just, people who believe what they want are just going to continue to.
And it's going to get tougher, as technology gets better, and I mean within the next 2 or 3 years. As technology gets better, it is going to be harder and harder to put those things to rest because I know Russia is huge into the deep fake thing. I know that other places are trying to...
And we're not talking about a play-action pass here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Going deep.
The deep fake, the handoff. I had heard something earlier today, and I think the website is, I haven't checked it out, so I'm sorry if it doesn't lead you there, but it's something like fakejoerogan.com or something like that.
I like Joe Rogan.
Yeah, so they play a couple of audio bits side by side, and you have to guess which one's real, which one's fake, and it's the same clip, the same words.
So it's like being blindfolded, one's Coke, one's Pepsi, and you got to taste the difference.
Which one is the deep fake of Joe Rogan saying this, and which one's the real one? And I just from what I could hear, I couldn't tell.
Huh. Are you sure they weren't faking you out?
Well, probably, yeah. I don't know. But
Russians aren't exactly known for telling the truth.
No, and they're not exactly known for good products either.
Yeah,
so, but they did invest enough to be able to interfere in our election process last time around. They're going to do it again. I mean, when it comes to upsetting the United States and its way of life, I don't think that that's something that they skimp on. So I think it's something that is going to be more and more difficult as time goes by. We found lost footage of the fake moon landing, or and they'll be able to reproduce
All they
like
did there
Buzz
was all they
Aldrin's voice.
did was break into Area 51 and they found all the stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but it is. It's funny. I'm in. Even though I'm so technologically challenged, I am intrigued by it, though.
Yeah.
It's hard. Technology is one of those things that you're not going to put a lid on. I mean, once that lid's out of the, you're not going to put it back on there.
No, somebody's don't go back in the bottle.
Right. Somebody's always going to take something a step further and a
Yeah.
step further and a step further, and you wonder where does it all lead to? And I mean,
Right.
my whole fear is government surveillance, cameras everywhere. You have no privacy. You have everything you do is videoed or recorded somewhere by somebody.
Yeah, and the government, obviously, I believe will be involved in that. I believe that they're going to have people like
I think
Facebook
they're already doing
a lot of their background. I don't think the government's going to have to do it because you're going to have tech companies like Google and Facebook who are already collecting information on people.
But again, that goes further.
Yeah.
And it's not just your email address. That's not enough now.
Right.
Now it's got to be. That's how they shoot ads.
What's your dog's name?
Yeah. So I mean,
like,
at some point, I mean, if two people are talking in the privacy of their own home, how private is that conversation?
It's not. I don't believe it ever is. Already. I mean, Amazon already says we have people that go through all of the voice that is captured by Alexa, and they go through it and they analyze it, and they're already doing it. So if you have one of those products, it's already doing that. Our phones can be turned on at any time. And we can't take the batteries out anymore. Old cell phones, you used to be able to take the battery out. Can't do that anymore. So if they want to listen in and or watch in, they can definitely do that. If there's a reason to do that.
Right, but wait a minute. That's a violation of our Fourth Amendment protection.
It is right now, and
right now that's the key.
Right now, I don't believe that they're currently doing that. I'm not trying to go off into crazy conspiracy land here, but the technology exists for them to be able to do it, and if they had a warrant, to be able to do that,
that's where you wonder about government abuse. If you don't have the evidence against somebody to get a legal warrant from a court, is there a backdoor way you can get that evidence anyway and then argue inevitable discovery or something? I mean, it's very intriguing, very fascinating time to be alive, but also very scary in a way. There's sometimes I wish it was 100 years ago sometimes.
Sometimes. But when you have like...
Coolidge would be president almost.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Oh, no, it'd still be Wilson. Hadn't had his stroke yet.
I'd have a stroke. But, I mean, Facebook just announced that they're coming out with the Libra, which is a cryptocurrency, kind of like Bitcoin or something like that. How will it do? I assume well, because, A, it's Facebook. They'll use it for Facebook related things at first. But Visa and MasterCard have already got behind this. When you have companies like Facebook and companies like Twitter and whoever, that, and in full disclosure, I mean, I use these products, to
how
do
does that
marketing
work,
and advertising.
though, Jay? How does that work? How does that coin? How did their own coin work?
Well, it's all electric or electronic. It is.
So there's no coin.
No. You have to
with the president's face on it.
Get it cashed out into actual real money, or into your bank account that could be turned into actual real money if you want to capitalize on that. But it can, be used for trade and things like that. And there will be things that are going to be like, we take X amount of Bitcoin or Libra or whatever.
It's like an exchange rate.
Right. But here's the thing. If you have groups like Facebook and Twitter and whoever that are starting, and Google really, which are shutting out conservative voices and certain points of view that don't agree, whether it's pro-life, whether it is whatever. And then all of a sudden, you have them also in charge of how we buy and sell. How, if you are an independent, business person, you own your own business. Whether you're able to sell. I mean, this is stuff that, if you look at...
They're creating their own market.
Yeah, they're creating their own market. Yeah, but they can totally shut people out of it. And if, say, you sell your merchandise through these sites and you run a podcast like we do, or you have a news service or whatever, you can be shut out. And so it is interesting times to be alive. But if you look at, I've always wondered, being, a Christian, looking at like the Book of Revelation and how you got to have the mark and able to buy it to be able to buy and sell, and you got to be able to do, otherwise you're not going to be able to. And this, how is that ever going to come about? Where they're going to be able to give you a mark and you can buy or so. Well, they're already starting to shut people out from being able to buy or sell. You don't meet the criteria. You have got to change and do X, Y, Z in order for you to be able to use this platform freely again.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope.
Well, we can certainly not count on our friends in government to, you're going to have to, people who get shut out are going to have their own. I mean, at some point, they're going to have to invent their own Facebook.
Yeah.
And you're going to have competing markets but how do you, it's like taking on Walmart. How do you band together to do that?
Well, here's the problem. When conservatives create something, they create it specifically for conservatives. And so they have a very small reach because you're not getting business from across the aisle.
A mass audience.
Right? So you create a social network just for conservatives. Well, it's never going to be big enough to compete with Facebook. It's never going to be big enough to compete with Twitter. You have to create something, and then as a conservative owner, you have to decide, okay, I am going to allow this to be a free exchange of ideas. I'm going to allow free speech no matter what and uphold those values. You cannot be like, oh, this is for conservatives or this is... It's never going to compete.
But that's always the whole thing about freedom of speech, is that you have the freedom of speech and expression, whether or not your views are popular or not.
And that's a speech that we have to protect.
Yeah. We have to protect this. And you know what, Jay, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell conservatives this. You need to protect the speech of things you hate as much as your own.
Absolutely.
You have to, the communist radical, the Democratic Party, the communist nutcase radical who chants death to America in the United States can say that.
Sure.
They can't act on it.
No.
But they can say it. And you have to defend that as much as you defend. And I think that's the part of the First Amendment people don't get. It doesn't just protect yourself.
Yeah.
But it protects everybody who's here. Not just speech you agree with, disagree with, don't like. We've classified certain kinds of speech as hate speech. That definition keeps growing.
Yes, it does.
Certain opinions are now hate speech.
Yep.
So, slippery times. Now, I want to mention one other thing quickly.
Yeah.
I know we went up a good discussion. This canceling student debt thing is really good. That's the latest thing in the presidential thing. I just want to mention something real quick.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. What is the incentive for a college to do anything relevant to the job market? Okay, which they already don't do. You get your degree in African American studies and pay $100,000 for it, and now you're a waiter.
Yeah.
Okay. And the concept of getting something, there's a race to get free stuff now. What is it going to take to cut through that? I mean, think about it. It's not canceling student debt. It's breaking contracts, number one. It is screwing somebody because somebody's
got to pick up the bill.
And we all know it's going to be taxpayers.
Yeah.
And it is teaching people that they're not responsible. Whether you think college is expensive or too expensive or whatever, how about the folks okay, who went to community college or who learned a trade or went to school part-time, or what is behind this? I mean, are we just fishing for votes? Is this just a BS thing?
Yeah.
I'd like to say I'm fascinated by this. I'm more sad by it.
Yeah.
What's going on with this cancel student debt stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. They're trying to, I think, make it like college is
an entitlement. It's becoming an entitlement.
Exactly. It's a right.
Yeah, I mean, Education Minnesota has publicly said they want to control kids from birth to the day they get their college diploma. Birth.
Yep.
So, I mean, it is becoming that, and it's becoming the name of equity. It's racist. It's all the liberal terms keep coming out on this. I mean, what? But I'm kind of baffled by how do people not see a problem with this? How do people not see? I mean, if we cancel one, did we learn anything from the mortgage meltdown and from manipulating interest rates and from pushing loans on people who really shouldn't have gotten them? I mean, when are we going to learn this debt lesson? Because our government encourages borrowing.
Yes, it does.
They very much, not only do they do it themselves, but they manipulate and encourage people to borrow.
Right.
And not save. So they make it hard to save with borrowing with tax rates. So, I mean,
which makes people dependent on the government.
Right. And so they're complicit in this merry-go-round. So, I mean, what's going to stop that? What is going to stop? What's going to stop it is people not going to four-year colleges.
Right.
But if they can just get a loan, I mean, if you say you cancel debt and you start loaning again, I mean, what's to stop that? And in 10 years, we're in the same place we're in right now. But is that the master plan? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the more freebies that government gives out, the more people depend on the government and feel indebted to the government. And
do you think that's working, though?
Yeah, in some places it sure is.
I don't know. I'm sort of up in the air. I mean,
I think that
I think it's just mostly preaching to the people they're already preaching to. But
well, maybe.
I mean, I think your average. I would be if I worked. Now, look, I never took out a loan. I didn't finish my degree either. If I did though, and I paid, I'd be furious. I'm already furious, and I still didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I would be like, you know what? There's so many in today's world. There's so many alternatives. I would argue a 4-year degree is questionable, has questionable value in this country anymore. With the rise of the trades, and technology knocking down barriers, and alternatives on the internet, and community college, and joining the National Guard, and going to school part-time, evening classes. I mean, there's
no matter if you want to be self-employed, watch 30, 40 hours of how-tos on YouTube and start earning money. You will learn more than you will learn in any classroom, and that's the absolute truth. You know how many things I've learned from stuff in a car to cleaning fish to whatever by watching YouTube? It's a great education. Everybody's a teacher and everybody's a student. Yeah. It's just I don't know. I got rather angry on Twitter the other day. Yeah. I'm just sick and tired of the pandering, and well, I could go a few weeks without seeing Bernie Sanders' ugly face. So, a guy whose campaign is doing horrible. I mean, he supposedly has this great following, and everybody's trying to out Bernie, I guess. I guess so. So, anyhow. Yes. We babbled enough. Yeah. Now we're going to talk about, we're going to move out of unnecessary government spending and move into unnecessary government spending, I guess. Unnecessary government. Unnecessary government. There we go. I like that. Well, we might We might need county level government, but this group,
I'd rather be in Hazard than be here. I'd rather have Boss Hogg than anybody,
I would
Jeff.
like to know how he was the commissioner of Hazard County.
Yes.
How do you get one commissioner?
That's an old Southern.
Okay.
That's an old Southern way of governing. That the governor would appoint a commissioner or something like that.
Oh, okay.
That's. I don't think it even. I think it may exist in a handful of counties that there's kind of one. But typically, it would work. You had a commissioner; they would appoint the police commissioner. Appoint the, there would be the sheriff would be elected, of course.
Right.
So I think that's like an old Southern kind of left over from the Civil War days or something.
But it's interesting. That's kind of what we preach, that there should be an executive at the top and then a legislative body.
Right.
So they got it half right, except that he was appointed by the governor or whoever, or maybe he was elected. I don't remember if ever came up in the show. But.
I believe there's an episode where Boss has to go to the governor in Hotlanta and beg for another term or something, that there's something he wasn't skimming enough money. You know what I mean? So, because Roscoe was getting his 50% of your 50%.
That's not a bad boss.
Yeah. So, but I think that is an old, kind of like an old Reconstruction or something like that. That they would. You got to remember, the old South was not populated the way it is today. They didn't have the big cities. There were very few of those.
Right.
Now it's a little different in Florida and North Carolina and Atlanta and New Orleans have grown to normal metropolises. But 50 years ago that was pretty rare. I mean, go look at electoral votes from the 40s, and you'll see Arizona getting, Arizona's a bad example. Yeah. Florida getting 10, and you'll see North Carolina getting 5, and something like that. Georgia had a little more, but those rural places like that, which were divvied up, were not high and again, remember, very states' rights philosophy, very local philosophy there.
Right.
So just a different time and a different way of life. So I think that's how there's a name for it too, and I'll think of it, and maybe I'll look it up for next week or something.
All right, yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yes, I would take Jefferson Davis Hogg and Roscoe P. Coltrane over Hutch Hutchinson and whoever else we have on the commission.
Well, and we have the opposite problem here in all of Minnesota's counties, where there is not an executive at the head, although the law does allow it. There is not, I believe, a single county in Minnesota that employs that. It is a board of 5 to 7 people that are elected, and they are the legislative branch. But, your executive branch is hired. They are appointed. They are
outside of the county attorney and the sheriff.
Right.
There's some that are elected. Very few, though.
You don't have a county executive.
Yeah, a county governor or something, if you want to call it that. Yeah,
right.
You don't have that. Not at all.
No.
And I don't, that's a change that is, it's so ingrained right now, you just wonder what's going. I mean, there's going to have to be a tremendous groundswell or a change at the legislative level. Yeah. The legislature is going to have to come in and not tell them how to do it, but tell them, look, you have to have the government set up the way the Minnesota Constitution and the United States Constitution are set up.
Right.
Where you have separation of powers, you have a balance between them, and we don't have that at any level of local government, be it our schools, be it cities, be it counties, be it park district, be it watershed, you name it.
Yeah.
You've got the professional executive group that is untouchable, and you've got the elected legislative branch that often has no authority over the executive side. So it's very effed up. It's very wrong. It's very detrimental to people who celebrate liberty and local government and limited government, because there is no check on the government's growth.
But I think that would be the easiest level to start with, to set that kind of separation of powers up, because most of them are full-time employees, or well, not employees, but full-time elected officers.
Most of them are, at least in the metro.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that way statewide. It probably is in St. Louis.
St. Louis
it probably
County.
is in
definitely is.
Stearns or
yep.
Benton.
Up that way.
And I'm sure down by Rochester, I'm sure it is there. Olmsted County.
Sherburne
or
is that way.
Blue Earth County, I can't remember. Sherburne is set up like that. I think Wright County is too. I'm not sure if Lake County or Aiken County, where you've got 40,000 people in the entire county, not sure they're drawing a $100,000 salary. They may be full-time, they may have, I don't know if they have board meetings all day long. I don't know if it is. Hennepin County with 1.2 million people, I think requires a full-time position.
Yes.
What they get paid and what their benefits are and all that should be up for grabs, but it's a big job for 7 people. In fact, I think it's way out of whack for 7 people. I mean, Hennepin County in and of itself is about twice as big as a congressional district as far as people are concerned.
Right.
Basically, it's all of 3 and all of 5.
Yeah.
A little bit off of that is Hennepin County. So, I mean, it's a big, big place. So,
right. Yeah. And they take care of, health and human services.
Which they're required to by state law, by the way.
Absolutely. Rail.
The court system, law enforcement. Yeah. There's a handful of other things, county roads. There's 1 or 2 other things that they are mandated. Unfortunately, the legislature has pushed off a lot of dirty work.
Yeah.
And that really varies county to county. Social services in Hennepin County and social services in Becker County are probably 2 very, very different things.
Right.
And unfortunately, some of them are funded, some of them aren't. Some of them are based on formulas, like everything else is in Minnesota. I'm not making excuses, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there are certain realities that we have to face. There's 57 different property tax classifications. Assessing, that's another big thing that's on the county.
Absolutely.
They do all the assessing, they do all the tax collection, they do all the divvying up. They have every county will have an assessing department. They may call it something different, property tax division or something like that. But so they, it's not a small job that they have, but it makes who's there and why they're there.
Yeah.
They got enough to do without adding all of the garbage that people who are there want to think that they're in charge of.
Right.
I mean, as we'll get into here, I mean, when you're taking on, when you have an HRA, when you have which is a Housing Redevelopment Authority, when you have Health and Human Services, roads, county hospital, which they're not required to have, by the way.
Right.
HCMC is something they choose to fund.
Absolutely.
The courts, law enforcement, that entire sheriff's department. You've got assessing to do. I mean, tax collection. I mean, that is a monumental thing in and of itself.
And then they choose to take up other stupid things.
Yeah.
Dealing with green energy, and active living and
smoking bans and the enforcement of that.
Things they have no business taking up.
Complete streets. All sorts of things that I'm sure we'll talk about here. But there's been kind of a changing of the guard. The old commission, we had our old wrinkled up old commissioners for years and years and years. Mark Stingline, and it was Randy Johnson, and I don't mean the guy from the Mariners.
Right.
We had Peter McLaughlin.
Yeah.
We had the same old, tired old people. And it seemed like that was the council forever. I mean, I'm going back 20 years, but I mean, they were pretty much there, and now we've gotten a more younger, more radical. We basically have a knockoff of the Minneapolis City Council almost in office now in Hennepin County, and it's interesting how little coverage this gets, Jay. I mean, A $2.4 billion budget in the hands of 7 people. In the hands of 4, if you want to be blunt about it.
Right.
With no checks and balances, no restraint, no limits on what they can, at least in their minds, of what they can do or what they can take up. And it's stunning to me how little we pay attention to that. Not we being you and me, but us as citizens, our media. Everybody's obsessed with the president's last tweet, or with what celebrity is doing what, and your county commission is very easy to fall under the radar. You'd think it wouldn't be,
right? But I argue that the least amount is known about county government.
I would agree with that.
At least if you're a parent, you have interaction with the schools, and you get some of that way.
I still say the school board's a close second.
Probably, yeah, with the city council then being third.
Yeah,
but,
I think city councils are often most known.
Yeah.
Your mayors or somebody and it's also the smallest, which makes some sense that it's, you're in a ward, you might know your council, they might live down the street.
Right.
But your county committee, the districts here at Hennepin County are quite vast, as they would say. They're vast. Yes. Aren't they vast? They're vast.
Yes.
Now, who do you want to start with here of our four new friends? Now we all know Jeff Johnson, who's been on the show before.
Yes.
Of course, we talk about Mike Opek, as I like to call him.
Okay.
And then Jan Callison has been there for a long time too. Unfortunately,
and she's out like Excelsior way. Opat's up in the north section of town. So. We've got all this vast territory to cover with these 4 others here.
Who are we starting with?
Well,
and all we're going to do is give you a 10,000-foot view of who these people are.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Where do you want to start?
Well, should we start at number 2? Should we just go 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, we could. That's a good way to break it down.
Okay. All right. The batting order.
Yes.
Who's 2? Who's 2?
Oh, you're going to quiz me right on the spot?
I don't even remember. Oh, that's what I'm in. 2.
Yes.
Aren't I? Yeah,
I think
so.
You're in 2, yeah. Yeah.
So that is Fernando.
Yes.
Now, the only Fernando I know used to pitch for the Dodgers. So we need to figure out who this, Fernando.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a song.
It is. It's a song
Fernando.
by some Chico. Anyhow, remember, this is the one that beat your buddy Blong Wang in the last election. So we had the Fernando Wang election.
I'm trying to correct you on that one.
You know what? I'll tell you what.
Yes.
I really didn't know that it was Wang or Yang. Yang or Wang?
Yeah.
Vang?
No.
Blog
Yang.
what? Yang.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, you're in 2. That's Golden Valley, St. Anthony, Medicine Lake, part of Plymouth. Yeah.
Oh, barf.
2.
I got to get out of there.
Yeah? Yeah, that might be a good plan.
Who is Eileen Fernando? Who is that? I don't know who she is.
She's now one of 2 women on the board.
No. There's a majority.
3.
No, there's 5.
Jan Callison, Conley, Fernando,
Marion Green.
Oh, Marion Green.
And then the lady that replaced Randy Johnson.
That's right.
There's 5 of them. Because remember, we got to keep track of that. Because that's important. Diversity.
Yes, diversity is important.
Diversity of thought is important. I don't know. I don't know what this kind of diversity is. So who is this Fernando chick? Who is this?
Oh, boy.
Who's Fernando?
I can hear the hate mail pouring in right now.
Why not?
Irene Fernando. Oh, boy.
You know she went to the Bush Foundation?
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I guess she's bipartisan when it comes to that stuff. But
well, the Bush Foundation isn't very conservative.
Yeah, I guess it's not.
No. Here's one thing I do know. As soon as she took her oath of office, she said, "Woo, Commissioner Irene Fernando in the house.
Well, there's some humility for you.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, Miss Fernando is endorsed by the usual group of folks that we've talked about in the local elections around here.
According to an NPR article, she wanted to be elected so that she could eliminate racial disparities.
Oh, yippee!
She is Filipino.
Huh.
So she's got that. She's now. Let's set this up because
now this is okay. Linda Higgins vacated this seat.
Yes, she vacated that seat. There were other commissioners that did not vacate, and they were longtime commissioners who just weren't left enough.
Yeah.
They were Democrats. They were probably endorsed by the Democrat Party.
We'll get to those.
And
some of them weren't.
Right. Some of them weren't. But they were not liberal enough, so they were ousted. So a lot of these people come from some of these radical groups that have set themselves up in the Twin Cities. And we'll get into that
and
as well.
once again, you've got the DFL that's scared of all them. I mean, they're really scared of them. Fernando at voteirene.com still has her website up here.
Okay.
Proudly endorsed by AFSCME, Minneapolis Regional Labor Federation, Stonewall DFL. Is that Stonewall Jackson?
That's the only Stonewall I know. But
they got a rainbow on there.
Oh, well.
Minneapolis Building and Construction Trades Council, Women Winning, which is a pro-abortion group.
Yeah.
They were proudly endorsed.
Stonewall DFL is a LGBTQ caucus of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party.
What's the Q stand for?
Questioning.
Questioning.
Yes. Okay. So that way, if you don't know where you fit in,
you can figure
still
out.
Included.
Okay.
Yeah. Very inclusive. There's no S for straight or any of that. So they exclude those people, but
okay.
or us people, I should say.
She still has up her 10 reasons to vote for Goodnight Irene election day. One of them is she earned the DFL endorsement twice. Once in a May convention. I don't know what that is of.
That should be a state election or state convention.
You get a state convention for a county endorsement? Okay. I don't know. And winning the primary in August. And number 10. This is Letterman. She's got Letterman's top 10.
Oh, okay.
She'll be the first person of color on the Hennepin County Commission. You will find this on another person's.
Yes.
We got to do that. Remember, get out that vanilla shake and put as many chocolate chips in there. Get the chocolate chips in those vanilla shakes. That's what we need. I know it's terrible, but just a little bit. That's a Jesse Jackson quote, by the way.
Yes, it is. For anyone who wants to think that you're being racist, you're just quoting Jesse Jackson.
Right. Except he would say like, "Get the chocolate chips in vanilla shake" or something like that. That's how he would. The Reverend Jackson. And she was endorsed by your usual our friends like Ilhan Omar, Shep Harris, Gail Dorfman,
of course,
a handful of your favorite from Golden Valley.
I don't think I have any favorites in Golden
Mark
Valley.
Rosen, Jillian Rosenquist. I mean, Alondra Cano. Boy, you gotta love her endorsement, don't you? Anyhow, the usual. I don't want to run them down. You can just guess at who they are. Mm-hmm. And all the labor unions, AFSCME, the trade unions, and so on and so forth. Here's my question here. I mean, what is with, again, you might say, why are all those groups endorsing? What is in it for Out Front Minnesota? I think they're a gay and lesbian group.
Yes.
What is out with them endorsing a county commissioner? Now, we know, don't we, Jay?
Yes, we do.
Because they're going to go to the legislative branch or something like that, and they want a debt to owe. They want to put their people into these positions.
Yep.
So their people can move up into the next stratosphere.
Yeah.
As we've talked about. That's what they're doing. So you have that going on also. So this lady is about as left as you're going to well, actually, it's not.
Well, yeah.
But she's pretty out there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This is my county commissioner.
Yep. Enjoy that.
This is one of the things I left blank.
Well,
I told you I left this blank.
She is there to advance equity across the county. So
that is not a county job.
No. It's
How do
not.
we've talked about how do you advance equity? What does that mean?
Well, by building vibrant communities to ensure affordable housing, prevent homelessness, strengthen child welfare and protection services.
How are you going to prevent homelessness?
Increase community
like
wealth
California?
and quality of life, and prioritize restorative criminal justice reform. Well,
restorative.
We'll have to cover this in another show, maybe next week. But I think they're doing a good job at getting rid of the homeless problem. I think they found them a home.
Yeah, it's California. Go to a warmer place to be homeless.
I was just talking about the light rail. But
well, yeah. Yeah, hey, I mean,
well,
why not?
We'll get to that.
I agree.
On another show. That's neither here nor there.
I like this. She is a social entrepreneur. What is that? An entrepreneur that talks a lot?
No. They're one of these newfangled people that they start businesses that have to deal with social causes.
Ah, I see. So this is a social justice thing.
Yes, social justice.
Social justice, meaning the people who are picked on can take it out on the people who are doing the picked. Allegedly.
Allegedly, that's the key.
Yeah.
Not. I
So
wouldn't
anybody
say in
perceived
actuality.
as being a victim of something has the right to retaliate. Yeah. Okay.
So.
Who else we got here? We got Mean Green. How about Mean Green?
Mean
and not
Joe
Mean
Green.
Gene.
Mean Gene. Okay. Let's go ahead.
Now, you know where Marion Green has gone backwards.
Really?
You know that?
No.
She used to be in the legislature.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Her district got sawed in half. Whatever year that was. And another DF. Okay, District 3 is part of Minneapolis, St. Louis Park. There's a little bit of something else in it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those districts.
It's really not a step backward for her. I mean, she's still making, what, $90,000?
Well, and she, like I said, she has more power as a county commissioner than she would as a rookie legislator. I mean, it isn't even close.
Yeah.
But she is one of the architects of Minsure. Did you know that?
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah. But she's also very, very much into the anti-smoking stuff.
Oh, good.
Was one of the pioneers of the e-cig ban in Hennepin County. I believe pushed it very, very hard. A complete street supporter, blah, blah, blah. I mean, pretty much down the line. But I would argue further left than was there before.
Right.
I think Gail Dorfman, I think that's her old seat, and she was pretty bad. But I think Mean Green is even further out there. So, in fact, Our Streets, Minnesota, one of your groups on Twitter, Jim,
I love Our Streets. They're phenomenal.
They had a Hennepin County questionnaire of all the candidates. Give me a second to find it. I thought I messaged it to you, but I don't think I did.
No, I don't think you did.
Of their questionnaire to all the county candidates last time around. And so...
Oh, I'm sure it's very good.
I'm sending it to you right now here on the
perfect.
air, so you can follow along. And I want to look at Miss Green's answers on a few things, and you can see Fernando's on there. Angela Conley, who we're going to get to, is on there. But they have all these questions about bike paths. You're going to prioritize this. Here's the question I want to focus on. Question 1. And this is very telling, because when we get to Angela Conley, I have another one that is telling as well. Question 1, do you navigate Minneapolis by walking, bicycle, or in a wheelchair? If so, for what purpose, blah, blah, blah. Monday through Friday for work, I navigate Minneapolis, St. Louis Park, elsewhere in a car.
Okay.
So she drives a car every single day.
Yes.
But wants policies to make us not do that.
Yes.
Okay, so and then everything else, of course, I often don't get in a car. I walk and do my errand. I don't believe that. Sorry, I don't. They always ask if you were transit dependent, and this is very critical also. She was transit dependent when she lived in Washington, D.C. Now, why is that important, Jay? Because what it shows is that when you are young or when you're something, whatever,
Yes.
sometimes you do take the bus. And the second you become successful, what do?
Drive.
You drive.
Yeah.
Now, that pattern's not changing.
No.
It's not changing. And Marion Green, same thing. I mean, talked about how she used her husband's car. Guess that's,
Yeah.
questions about, if you want to see this, our streetsminneapolis.org. She talks, the complete streets policy is in there, protected bike paths, just nauseating to read, but she pretty much is down the line with whatever they want in that capacity as well.
Ugh.
So.
Well, they always seem to be.
And, has voted for every tax, every thing pretty much down the line. She's also supported. It's very hard to find anything that she's dissented on.
Well, why do you need to dissent when you have everybody on the same side of the fence?
Well, but you can dissent out of principle or something like that. What do you hope to accomplish to make the county and your district better for walking and biking by the end of your term?
Biking?
Biking.
I like that.
Yeah. Here's another critical one.
Yes.
Listen to her answers.
Okay.
Other than more bike lanes, blah, blah, blah. Housing density, mixed use, i.e. we're going to cram people in somewhere else. Expanding light rail. Basically, every infrastructure project has to have some sort of biking, sidewalk, wheelchair accessible sort of thing. How can a road not be wheelchair accessible?
I don't know.
What is there? Is there a fence around it or something?
I wouldn't want wheelchairs in the road.
No, on the sidewalk. That's what they're. That's where they belong. Anyhow. So, but yeah, and like I said, in the legislature, very much into MNsure, very much into rubber stamping, Governor Dayton stuff. So there you have it, one of the Minneapolis heavy commissions. And speaking of that, number 4 is exclusively in Minneapolis.
Ooh. Yuck.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Good old Peter McLaughlin's old seat.
Yeah. He didn't leave willingly.
No, he did not. What a choice there.
Yeah. Yeah. It amazes me. This was another one of those, like with a lot of them on Minneapolis City Council last time in that turnover where they went from left to extreme left.
Yeah, when Mr. McLaughlin, I've served with Peter McLaughlin on the Citizens League Transit Task Force, and I can tell you that he was in the top 3 or 4 as far as leftness.
Yeah.
And when he's not left enough for you, I don't know what he could have done other than maybe paint himself a different color. I don't know what he could have done to be. Why would they be upset with him?
I don't know. But instead we got Angela Conley, who wins a historic victory, apparently.
Yes, but once again, her being black was basically the genesis of...
She's the first black woman to serve on the commission, according to
her.
But, I mean, she is. I mean, I'm just saying she wrote it. That's all I mean. I'm not calling her a liar. She has 2 decades of experience working for state and county government, so that means a lifer.
We've been providing her paychecks for a long time.
Yes, and she does, and even longer than you think, because she highlights that with her personal experience as someone who has received county assistance and her professional experience within the county, Angela has a unique insights into how to get county money. Wait, no, I mean unique insights into its operations and how they can be improved.
She's a former welfare recipient. Can we just call it that way?
Which is fine. I don't begrudge that of anybody who needs it.
As long as they're on it for a very short amount of time.
Why the safety net is there, and I mean, she should be so into capitalism,
right?
Because apparently, I mean, I guess not, because she's worked in government her whole life. But the fact that she was able to get off of welfare and get into a position that has been good for her, but maybe she couldn't have done that without government.
Okay. But then again, it's one thing to get a little help. It's another thing to have half the population getting everything for free and half the population having to work for it. I love her answers on our street video. I got to say this, Quinn.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you navigate, same question of Marion Green about working, do you get to working back with a car? I'm dependent on my vehicle to navigate Minneapolis. That's question 1.
Yes.
Again, question 2, have you ever been transit dependent or car free? And she goes back to kind of what you said about in her 20s when she took her kids on the bus and all that. Again, it's an example of what happens. Mm-hmm. You become successful, you get a career, and what do? You get off the damn bus because nobody wants to be on it. Let's be honest. You ride the bus because you have to.
Yes.
And voila.
Yeah.
So, once again, proving what we've been saying for 10 years, at Community Solutions, that transit is not a way of life for people. It is a temporary thing. When they have to do it, they do it.
Yeah.
And the second you can get a car and get the hell off that bus with the unhappiest people on the face of the earth, you do it. And we got 2 commissioners now there's more.
Yeah.
Pushing transit on us, pushing the war on cars, yet admitting that they drive every day and admitting that they used to not drive, and the second they got some success, now they do.
Right.
Just beyond absurd.
Yep. She was endorsed, it looks like, by Ilhan Omar, who is just fantastic.
Yes, there's a video of Ilhan Omar and her on her website.
Oh, boy. Does it also have Ilhan Omar's 2 husbands in the picture?
I don't know. Which one's Larry, Daryl, and Daryl?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Anyways, also Peggy Flanagan, and she earned endorsements from Outfront Minnesota again, Our Revolution. We're going to have to get into this group. They have a national organization, a Minnesota chapter, and a Twin Cities chapter, which we've said with these special interest groups, it's always the way it happens. And then women winning. Also, she came so close to getting the DFL endorsement for running for Hennepin County Commissioner. What have we always said, Andrew? That they shouldn't get, for local races, they should not get endorsements from the political parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's some interesting things that she favors. Of course, in the area of social justice, less than 1% of Hennepin County contracts, I don't know to do what, she doesn't say. Oh, to go to businesses owned by people of color. So I guess we can't have that.
Oh, so we can't go to businesses owned by Whitey anymore?
No, we can't.
Okay.
We can't do that. Angela understands that transit means more than simply light rail. We need buses that move people to and from light rail. It's not enough that we have the light rail. We have to have buses that move people to and from light rail.
Instead of having buses that go to and from destinations, let's just get them to and from the train.
Yes. Angela is committed to ending cash bail, a practice that penalizes people of color and the poor at higher rates. That's not true. Bail is set based on your means to pay most of the time.
Yes.
So that is actually false. And I would also argue that here's an idea. If you don't want to find the need for bail, here's an idea. Don't commit a crime.
That works out most of the time.
I think it works out damn near 100% of the time.
Well, you have people that get falsely accused of things.
You do. Here and there, you do.
Yeah.
That's true. Here's an interesting one. She
Yes.
is a renter in the city of Minneapolis.
Well, she doesn't need to rent no more.
Soaring rents and minimal housing stock have caused too many hardships for people in District 4.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a call for more high-density housing,
All right.
which is probably going to be like the Northern Loop. Is that a good, cost-effective?
High density, but also affordable, I believe.
And how about this? Boy,
Yes.
you're going to be knocking down the doors to get on this. I wonder if this has been created. She is committed to creating the first racial equity advisory council that Hennepin County has ever had.
Wow.
Doesn't that just sound wonderful? Mm-hmm. So we're going to end cash bail, which I don't understand how she has the authority to do. I mean,
I don't either.
how can the county end cash bail?
Yeah, I don't understand that one.
And buses to and from the light rail. So it's not enough that we have the buses and the light rail. The buses have to go from your house
Yes.
or your apartment or your doghouse or cardboard box to the light rail station now. And maybe in Minneapolis we call that moving, because there's all the homeless that are sleeping over there.
Right.
So it's moving is what that's called. So some interesting priorities there.
Yes.
Now you can see how she beat Peter McLaughlin. I mean, he was in favor of all the transit in the world, but not buses to light rail. I bet he drew the line at that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Ending cash bail, man. I mean, so 95% wasn't good enough.
Right.
DFLers in District 4.
Goodness. Well.
One more. Right?
Yes.
Who's the 5? I forgot already.
Oh, boy.
The mayor of Richfield, the old mayor of Richfield.
Oh, yeah.
Why can't I think of her name? Debbie Gottel.
Yes.
Am I saying that right?
I think so, yes.
Goetel? Goetel? I don't know how you pronounce that.
Maybe?
Big picture of her smiling with Amy Klobuchar right on the front page. And the usual endorsements from the laundry list of DFL folks.
Yeah.
So this is Richfield, Edina, Bloomington, right? That's district.
Yes.
I'm being a little
Yeah.
general here.
Eden Prairie, Bloomington, Richfield, yeah.
What's going on down there? Who did we pick down here?
In 5, isn't it?
Yeah, is this lady as wacky?
Well, she did say, I want to thank the DFL party, my friends in organized labor, the business and community leaders who endorsed me, and everyone who made a contribution to the campaign. So that tells you where she sits.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, whether or not you voted for me, she pledges to work hard for you.
An engineer working in the environmental and sustainability fields.
Oh.
The
Your
S word
favorite.
again.
Your favorite.
What is that?
Wow.
What is it with this S word?
Hennepin County DFL endorsed. Yeah.
But she's going to listen to all sides and find common ground. So she's
Well,
going to
of
listen to
course.
Angela Conley and Fernando and
Easy to find common ground with
yeah.
people you agree with
yeah.
already.
So that's that. They're gonna all find common ground,
Right.
But what I really want to say though about this is, Jay, we talk about again and again and again about getting people in, moving them up. Okay.
Yeah.
Getting them into position like this. Here's the mayor moving up
Yeah.
and being a county commissioner.
How many times have we talked about
We've
that?
talked about that a few times. Endorsed by the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, District 82, Minneapolis Regional Labor Federation. Where have I seen them? The Carpenter guys, AFSCME, CD3 and 5 DFL, Star Tribune. Didn't know the Star Tribune endorsed for things like that, but I guess they do.
I guess they do.
So I mean, you've got and again the laundry list of DFLers from Minneapolis, and so I'm sure
Yeah.
it was tough to get those.
She wants to provide financial incentives, especially for a multicultural workforce. Looking at.
So in other words, once again, we're not going to hire the best people. No, we're not going to do that.
Well, it's that, and also providing small and local business loans. Like the county should be doing that.
No kidding.
Customized job training.
County doing job training.
Yeah. Yeah. Advocate for long-term sustainable funding to fix, repair, and reconstruct roads, bridges, and underpasses.
For county roads, yes. For anything else, no.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Yeah. Well, the key is here now: long-term sustainable funding.
So what does that mean? A special
Bringing
tax?
money in long-term and doesn't run out.
So what can we tax that will never end?
Right. Yeah.
Now remember, the county only gets like half its money from the property taxes.
Right.
I mean, they get state aid, they get fee services, they get a whole host of. I don't even want to go into it. The whole host. There's a county sales tax.
Yeah.
The road. I mean, it tells me that she's going to go after the wheelage and which Kent County already has, but they'll raise it the second they can.
Yep. Fines and forfeitures with the auctions.
There's going to be any kind of creative financing is going to find its way into her say-so. I mean, so folks, I mean, that's just a quick rundown. There you have it.
That should send our listeners flocking to buy homes in Hennepin County.
It should have them plotting to get the hell out of there.
Well, yeah, that's probably true. But you guys, this is why we preach this.
The hell, just move. Don't worry about it. Just move. Just leave.
No. Listen to me.
No, just move.
Listen to me here.
Oh.
Here's what we got to do. We got to get on advisory commissions, start running for city council, school boards, and county boards. And eventually, over time, these things can change.
Now, just think about something, though.
Yeah.
All these Minneapolis people and these regional, I mean, think about it. You in Hennepin County and way the hell out in Long Lake.
Yeah.
I mean, they're making rules for you.
Right?
You know?
Yeah, you got to love that out in Corcoran, out in Medina.
Yeah. Excelsior and everywhere else.
I mean, out in Medina where you have
got
$1 million homes.
You got a Minneapolis style county commissioners.
Yeah.
Making rules for this entire, with 1.2 million people.
Yep. You live in your $1, $2, $3 million home out there in, the western edge of the county. I'm sorry. You're stuck with these yokels.
You know what?
Yeah.
I tell you what, it takes some guts because I wouldn't run for this. I wouldn't want to be on this board.
Yeah?
I couldn't handle it.
Well,
it would cut 20 years off my life. The simple solution, Jay, is to just move. Just get the hell out. Dry up.
listen to me.
Oh, okay.
Listen to me, listeners.
Move.
We need to
get the hell out.
We need to get on these advisory commissions.
Fernando can have it.
We need to get elected the city, the school, the county. We got to do it because
What's Marion
this is
Green's
just
address? I want to
nuts.
smoke in front of her house. I smoke on the street in front of her house. Is that still legal?
You're going to take that up again?
Well, think about it.
Well, yeah,
She's got to be in Minneapolis.
probably.
It's probably illegal for me to enter Minneapolis. It could be. Who
could
knows?
be. Oh, goodness. You know, we laugh at Hennepin County. It's obviously the worst county in the state. But, you know, it's easy to pick on them. It's not as easy to pick on the people who are running, Polk County or Olmsted County or, you know, any of these others that are outlying. But let me tell you, they have things going on at the county level that would raise your hair if you only knew about it. So, you know what you got to do? You got to get involved because while Hennepin County may be terrible and maybe it makes you want to flee, your county government where you're at, outstate Minnesota, it's not so great. Sure, it's better than Hennepin, but you got a lot of fixing to do out in these other places as well. Renville County, whatever. So, got to do something about it. And that starts here and now. By you making a commitment that you're going to live by conservative principles, by pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, giving a little bit of self-sacrifice, and getting your butt into a place where you can start making some decisions at the
I'll tell you my first
local
decision.
level.
Move out of Hennepin County.
Oh, my word. Well, he's not completely wrong.
I'm just contrasting you're getting involved with going. You can get involved or you can go away.
Yeah, well.
There's two choices for dinner. Take it. That's what my grandmother always said.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's about it. But, hey, the good news is we got plenty of counties in Minnesota and plenty of counties that need your help. You know, you take Hennepin and you take Ramsey out, and you got a lot of counties in Minnesota that need your help that aren't as terrible as this, but they need your help. So get a hold of us. COMM Solutions, mn@gmail.com. That's COMM Solutions, mn@gmail.com, and we'll help you figure it out.
Every time I hear we need your help, I just got to throw this. All I hear is I was in California when Arnold Schwarzenegger was elected governor.
Okay.
I was there that day.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the commercial I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running for governor of California. I need your help. That's what I remember. Every time I hear I need your help, that's what I think of.
Oh, boy.
I need your help. Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Oh, goodness.
Get to the chopper. Okay, all right.
We will be back with another episode next week, 4th of July or not. So,
of course we'll be. How could you miss the 4th of July?
Absolutely. It'll be a
patriotic
fantastic episode.
episode.
It will be.
They're all fantastic.
You'll want to,
but they get more fantastic.
You want to wear a tri-corner hat when you listen to it. It'll be that good. All right. Thank you, guys. We love you so much, and we are so thankful that you listen to this podcast. Share it to all four corners of the earth. Let's get some things moving and change this state, huh? What do you say? We love you, Minnesota. Now it's your turn to get to work.
Take my life, caught a break between the lines. Don't let me be. If I get too caught up